Why don't you take this call over? Tell us a little bit more about you, where you were living before you moved back to LA and all of that jazz.
Hey guys, good morning. So I'm so excited that I, one, have the opportunity to speak to you, and two, talking to you guys about the topic today. To just give a little background story about me, I didn't even know I loved Beachbody as much as I do, and it's been an absolute roller coaster. I was working corporately first. I was working in corporate marketing for, I don't know, ever since I graduated, and I was working 80 hours a week, and it was awful and terrible. And it was when society tells you, you have made it. I was at that point in my life of you have made it. You got an amazing job. You're in a senior position. Literally you are 25 and you're making more money than the average marketing person. And I was like, okay, well, if this is what made it feels like, I don't want to make it. And so I just was like, what can I do? What can I do for myself? What can I do for the people around me? What can I do to better my life? And then I found the Beachbody opportunity, and I didn't buy in for a good year. I did not buy in. And I watched all these people grow. I watched all of these people become successful. I watched so many people excel in the business, love the business, find that financial freedom that I kept looking for, and finding that charisma back in life and stuff. And so I just sat there watching, waiting for my moment. And so I was like, okay, well, my moment hasn't come. Almost 10 months in, I'm like, okay, now it's time to create that moment. And so about a year ago at this point, I decided to turn it on. And I was like, you know what, Mandie, you're going to either take this opportunity for what it is and you're going to grow, or you're going to just not do it. We're not going to be a dabbler anymore. It's not for you. And so last year at this time, I think I was a diamond coach. I want to say, I think I was a diamond coach. And then I decided, you know what? I want to go premier this year. I want to end the year as a premier coach. And so I literally went from diamond to 2-star in a month and a half to make that qualification. And I was like, okay, that was cool. Wait, I can actually do this. And then I took the next year and I was like, you know what? If I control every aspect of my activities on a day-to-day basis, this thing could work for Mandie. And so I ended up falling in love with this opportunity. I ended up falling in love with it because I was like, all of those things that I ever wanted in life can happen here. And so I was like, well, instead of waiting for that moment, I'm going to craft and create that every single day. And so I used business building activities, and I used all these different things and stuff. And so I was able to move to where my girlfriend lives. She was from Alabama, and I started being a Beachbody coach full-time there. And that's when it kind of took off. And I dove completely in. And then in a year, now I'm sitting at 11-star qual. And so building from diamond to 11-star qualification, it is insane to think that little Mandie made that happen. And it's crazy because it was only with the things that I've learned from not only other people, but from what I was passionate about, and that's marketing. And that's being able to market myself as an entrepreneur. And that's kind of what I want to talk to you guys about. Robbie, do you have any specific things you want me to tell them about me, or do you just want me to go into it?
Well, let's, if you have any questions for Mandie, we'll save that towards the end. But I did want to jump into kind of going into, not just marketing, but going into how they can better utilize, social media, and how they can invite, whether that's inviting tips that you have, or social media invite, tips. Let's dive into that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But I want to say before I even dive into the invite is you have to market yourself as an entrepreneur, as a business builder, as somebody for somebody to go to before you can even actively invite with value. And the reason I say this is because we become when we sign up as a coach, we become our own CEO, right? We become the owner of our business. We become the person that's going to control all of our activities. And so being able to market your social media, and that's your platform, that's your resume, that's where people look at and they see, oh, are you doing something, or are you just kind of wanting people to come to you? And so social media has been an absolute like, it's been like my playground. It's so much fun for me, and I love being able to do it. But it's because I think that as a Beachbody coach and as any type of entrepreneur, this is where you get to capitalize on who you want to become. And so understand first, before I get into all the invite tips and all the social media tips, is that you are your own marketing team. You are your biggest cheerleader on social media. And so you have to be able to kind of like get excited and really just like really celebrate the small successes. Like before this, I was like, hey, I'm up for the first time in a long time to talk for corporate about marketing. And this is the first time that I get to talk about marketing with something I'm passionate about. And that right there is like a subtle invite to an opportunity where the other people that are marketers or other people that are in businesses they don't really love see, and I was like, wait, you actually like what you're doing? Like, that's so weird for a 25-year-old. And so those are subtle things you can market yourself on social media as a business builder. And so going into kind of like my 5 tips, social media / invite. My first tip is my post should answer these questions, and you guys can write this down. Number 1 is, where was I before coaching and what has it changed? Number 2 is, why am I coaching? Number 3 is, how do I help others? Number 4 is, where am I going with coaching? And then number 5 is, who is your team? And so if you are answering all these questions on your social media platform and you're showing up and literally giving everybody your authentic version of your journey, then people are like more inclined to be attracted to what you're doing, rather than just sitting there and be like, I don't really understand what she does. I know she works out, but I can't tell that she has an opportunity, and I can't tell what it's done for her. So once you're able to really peel back those layers on who you've become because of coaching, that's when your invites can be really, really powerful. And so every single day that I like evaluate my social media or evaluate the way I'm talking, I make sure I answer those questions, because those are the questions that people want to feel for themselves. People want to be able to look at somebody's social media and not say, oh, I want to be here, but what can I do to be in the same path as her? And so really adjusting your sales to answering the questions so you can really hit that ethos when people are viewing your social media page. And so that's my first tip. And I think that if you can just evaluate and answer these questions, those 5 questions first, is like the breadwinner of your marketing strategy.
Mandie, can you repeat the questions?
Yeah, of course. I have them typed out, and I will just put them in the chat. I feel like that's easier. Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect. I was just going to say, as you were saying that too, it made me think, I mean, every one-on-one I jump on with coaches, I'm specifically asking, if I were to jump on your social media, Instagram, Facebook right now, would I know that there is an opportunity to join? Or do I just see a cool chick that loves to drink shakes and work out?
Oh yeah. You see that.
I mean, that Mandie's like, yeah, you'll see that too, but at least I know that there's an opportunity, right? So
no, exactly. And so that kind of like leads me to my second point, is if you're trying to grow your team, you're on your social media and your inviting process on your platform, it should already start creating that team culture. So you should be talking about what you value with your team. You should be talking about why you love your team. You should be talking, and if you don't have a huge team right now, you should be talking about the team that you aspired to build. And that was something that I had a really hard time to like kind of articulate when I was a coach early on. I'm like, okay, I have about 3 people on my team, so how do I talk about this as an abundance of people that have changed their life, you know? But then I had to think, if I'm trying to make the people that are viewing and like the audience of my social media really want to buy into what I'm doing, because I believe in it wholeheartedly, I have to really paint that picture of what I want to create as a coach, like a leader on a team. So when I talk about the team culture, I literally talk about how much I love having my best friends as business builders or business owners, or collaborating with them, or being able to learn from them, or be able to grow with them. Or I really, really capitalize on small success stories of my coaches. And even if that was, I've lost 3 pounds, cool, that's amazing. That's way more than you would have done if you just sat in your office not doing a workout at all. That is amazing. And you being able to capitalize on the small successes within your team on a social platform, then people start being like, oh, like you're actually helping people. You're actually doing something that I could literally buy into that would help me. And so people start feeling that. And as your team culture, and that goes along with like you creating business builders and you talking about how hard you work. You guys, this is a business that you are building from the ground up, and it's not easy. So stop making it look like it is just like the easiest thing on social media. So many times people are like, oh my God, I just love my job. I love Beachbody coaching. It's just a cakewalk, you know, like all these things. I'm like, I don't know what Beachbody program you're doing, but this is not a cakewalk. And I love that. I love the fact that we get to work our tails off and become a better version of ourselves and get to pay it forward. Like that is an absolute gift. But if you are going, it's almost like creating this false like reality for people on social media. Is when you tell them it's just all this easy and just like a fluffy magical place that you just go to with all of these wonderful people on your team. Creating that team culture on social media is talking about like hardworking people, entrepreneurs. You have to really, really, really talk about how you've crafted and creating and the sacrifices you make. And so those type of things on the team culture aspect on social media really leads you up to the invite process, right? It makes those invites a little easier because you've already done the hard work of providing so much evidence that you are a business owner, that you've built from the ground up, that you will not only work hard for yourself, but work hard for your team. And people want to work hard with somebody, not for somebody. They want to work hard with somebody. And so if you're doing all those things and you're really creating that and crafting that team culture in your social media page, that's when you can go into my third tip. And this is your doors need to reopen every single day. So often we say, oh, I've already talked about the opportunity this week. Well, talk about it again and again and again and again. Reopen those doors every single day if you're trying to build your team. Your social media needs to be an open door kind of policy. You need to be talking about how you're growing your team. You need to talk about how you can help others. You need to be literally going into depth sometimes about how you're going to help them. And so the three kind of things that I make sure I do every single day is I talk about coaching opportunity on my Instagram stories. Like I talk about it like I am blue in the face, because if I can just help one person say yes to me, or if I can just impact one life, I've done my job. And so really, really reopening those doors on a day-to-day basis is so crucial to growing your team. Because if somebody comes to your feed maybe once a month, and that day in that month you just didn't talk about coaching, and so they just don't know about the coaching opportunity, that's on you as a business owner. So reopening those doors, talking about the coaching opportunity on Instagram stories, really opening up conversations in your like DMs of like, hey girl, like you do have really cute shoes, but you should get paid for how wonderful your feet is. Like, and it should just be less of this small talk and this kind of like wasted time, because you are a business owner and everything that you're doing should be strategic. And so on my Instagram feed, I'm talking about how much coaching has impacted me. And again, going back to the top and the number one tip of answering those questions, because those questions are what's going to dictate somebody saying, I want to know more information, or I don't really believe you. And so really, really just opening those doors every single day. And then this is my big number 4 tip, and this is going to be kind of go into depth, but first of all, I run information sessions. That's how I get coaches on my team. Like that's my bread and butter is I run information sessions. I used to just do conversations and they worked great, but I started getting to a point in my business where I was talking to 300, 400, 500 people at a time. And so I have to run information sessions. And so I'm running these information sessions. I do a call to action on my Instagram feed, and I'll say like, hey, I have 25 spots open. I literally build my business from social media. You don't need anything fancy to do this, but I am looking for you if you are inspired by 1, this opportunity, 2, to inspire others, and 3, that you're going to work hard. And so many times I see call to actions and they're like this story that is like 3 miles long. And I'm like, I just got tired reading your call to action. I cannot imagine what it's going to be like working with you, you know, and I get like exhausted, but like thinking about your call to action, it should be like a 3-second rule. Like people should be attracted to you in 3 seconds. And if they can't understand that what you have to offer in 3 seconds, that's not a call to action. That's a story with maybe an invitation at the end. And so really think about your call to actions and utilizing that space really strategically is super important in using a call to action at all. And I don't do call to actions at all the time at all, because if you overuse them, it looks like the give me type of business. And you don't want that. You don't want people to just go to your feed and always see that help wanted post or a call to action needing 25 people or that you're adding new spots like 3 days a week. Like people don't want to see that. So I usually do like 2, maybe 3 call to actions a month max, but most of my information session invites goes to this, and this is where I slide into the DMs. I still do, and I do it daily. I slide into the DMs and I say, and this is where I kind of will give just a vague kind of invite to my information session. And this is what I say, hey girl, I love your page and all the vibes you got going on. You would seriously be an amazing coach. I would love to have you in our team's information session if you're interested. It's just a Facebook group explaining what we do. What do you think? And it's so simple. It's like I'm asking her out for drinks, you know, like it's not, oh my gosh, this is all the information I'm going to provide. This is what I have to like give you. This is what I have to offer. It's a simple, hey, do you want to hang out in my information session? Because people relate to that, like that best friend talk, you know, like people want to get comfortable. They don't want to be sold. And I can drop this in the thing as well after I'm done. And then another kind of example of this is Kim. Oh my God, girl, why are you not getting paid for how amazing your feed is? Girl, you slay. Have you ever thought about coaching? And it's so simple. And they're like, wait, you think I'm good? Like, you know, and they get flattered. And it's wonderful because they get excited that you think highly of them.
I mean, I'll tell you what, I'd be flattered if you like gave me a compliment about my
I do all but yeah, and they're like, oh my goodness, no, tell me more. And I'm like, amazing. So my team is actually hosting an information session about what we do, how we make money, and how you can join us. I would love to have you in it. If you're down, it's a free Facebook group, so you can feel free to join it. And then I like send them the link. And Instagram's so wonderful now that they let us send links. And so those are my invites. Like those are my invites to my information session. It's not this strategic, crazy thing. It's just, hey girl, you want to grab drinks in my information session? Like that's how I feel about these information sessions. Like it is just a place for them to get information because I think that they are good enough to do so. And I'm not very biased when it comes to who I think could be good at this business, because I really do think everyone, if they have it in them, if they have it in their heart, that they could excel. Like I believe that wholeheartedly. And so I am not going to go through my Instagram strategically and be like, you know what, maybe because she has that good one of those good pictures, she could be good at marketing throughout. Like I don't think that much about these invites. I just invite people because this is a gift. And I don't know what their life circumstances are. I don't know what's happened to them. I don't know what is currently going on, but it's our job to pay it forward. So I use these invites into the information session. Cassidy asked how many invites I sent. Honestly, probably around 50 to 100 before I open, and 3 times a day. Like literally, and I send out so many invites, and that's how I get to talk to 500 plus people, because I'm doing this. And then I get their emails too in the information session. I'll go into that later. And then I use Instagram stories. Instagram stories is like the bread and butter to my business, because people see my face, they get excited, they see how I'm excited about this opportunity, and they also see that, hey, I'm a real person and I don't look perfect all the time. I also don't look like I always have it going on. I don't even have like good articulation of what I'm necessarily doing. I'm just excited that I get to have an opportunity to pay it forward. And that's where people get excited, that they want to work with me and not for me. And that's one thing that I've really, really learned, is that you are a business owner and you are somebody that's going to be at the top of this business structure, but you want people that want to work with you, not for you. Because if they think that it's just another kind of corporate job, why would they sign up to work hard as an entrepreneur, you know? And so you really, really have to kind of talk about the opportunity as in, like, I help girls, like, and this is what I usually say. I said, what's up, you guys? I'm hosting an information session this week, and I'm so excited to add more people to my team. And what I'm going to be doing is literally giving you it all. Like, I'm going to be telling you how I started, what it takes to be a coach, what I do on a day-to-day basis, how much money I make. I know I don't like talking about money. I say that every time because I hate it. And then if you're interested, and I use that comment thing where it's like ask your question, and I use like drop your email in this little thing, so I can just email all of them at one time. And that's super, super easy for me. And I do that probably every single day for 3 days straight leading up to the information session. And that's another way to invite. And then I have a form as well. And this is another way to invite as well. I have a form, and it literally says, like, what's your name? What's your email? What's your Instagram handle? Why do you want to be a coach? Super simple. And in my Instagram stories, I'm like, hey, if you guys are interested in joining my team, why don't you just swipe up and let me get to know you a little bit, and maybe you can be a perfect fit. And you have to create kind of like a scarcity too, because people are like, how do I be a part of this, you know? And then, so that's kind of like my invitation process to my information session. And then lastly is my fifth tip is show people what they're missing out on. And I love doing this because people like get frantic and some serious FOMO, you know? And so people get really excited about what my team is doing because they see all the stuff in the back end. So I show them the information session. When it's going on, I'll show them what's going on in it because I want them to dive into it. And sometimes I'll do like a swipe up. I'll say, leave your email in this little thing if you still want to join. I'll do everything I can so they can get sneak peeks of my life without giving them all of the things, because I want them to ask me questions. I also show them things that I'm talking about in team calls, like what I have to offer them. And that's a way to strategically talk about what it takes to not only be a coach, but also the things that are going to happen as a coach. And then lastly is what do I need to do to kind of like not only work with you, but what would I need to do as like somebody being mentored by you? That you want them to be in the seat already prior to being a coach, so they can get kind of like a sneak peek into like what it would be like working with me specifically or my team. So I talk about team calls, I talk about strategy, I talk about the things, and I invite, like every single time I talk about a team call, I'm like, girl, why aren't you here? Like, and it's as simple as that. And I always say girl, gal, babes. That's just the way I talk. And I probably shouldn't talk like that because no guy ever talks to me. So, but maybe I should change that. But that's how I kind of invite to my information sessions and stuff like that. So, and then I really create that FOMO. And then the last point is, like I was kind of talking about earlier on, is you want people to join you and you don't want them to want to be you. Because if you have people wanting to be you, it's different than wanting to be a part of something that you offer. And I know that sounds really, really strange, but if you think about that, think about I follow this blogger, and her name's Sarah's Day. She's an Australian blogger, and I just want to be her. Like, I simply want to be her. She's amazing. I don't even know if I want to be friends with her. I just want to be her. And so I'm not inspired by, like, wanting to, like, hang out with her. I just want to live the life that she does in the way that, like, I wish my was Sarah's Day sometimes. Like, I wish that I was her. But I as a business owner and a business builder, I want people to want to be by my side. I want people to want to work hard with me. I want people to really buy into the ability to be their own business owner, you know? And so when we're talking about social media and stuff like that, the ability for us to say, hey, you get into this to create your own life by design, or you get into this to create your own freedom, financial freedom, spiritual freedom, like travel freedom, whatever that may be. And that's where, like, the magic starts happening, is because strategically I'm talking about this life could be for others through not only my stories, but also painting that really, really vivid picture. And so that's kind of my biggest tips. And I'll go back to, and I'll give you guys those conversations, the sliding into the DM things. But if you guys have any specific questions, I feel like there's a lot of questions in there. I would love to answer.
Do you want me to go through the questions on the chat and then open it up for live questions?
Yeah.
Let's do that. So guys, if you have live questions, just unmute yourself and then I'll go through the questions on the chat bar for Mandie.
I do. Hey, hi, Mandie. That was golden. Seriously, I know we say that about a lot of calls, but like this really hit home. What I love is that you focus on the business opportunity because, like you said, it's so easy for us to post a picture of our workout, and we could be anybody. You know, Joe Schmo doing 30-day shred in their house. I do want to know how long it took for you when you started coaching and you were still working your corporate job for you to transition out of that just full-time coaching.
So that's kind of a hard question because I dabbled for a hot minute, you know? So I started, this is actually October 1st is my 2 years. So almost 2 years. So when I started, I didn't really do anything up until May of my first year. And then I didn't really do anything again. I like did something for a month and I didn't do anything for another good month. And then July I was an emerald coach. August I went diamond. And so that's kind of when it switched. And then right when I went diamond, I went 2-star. I'm really trying to think here. I went 2-star, but I kind of put my back against a wall because I was moving across the country. And I said, either I'm going to dive into this or I'm going to get another corporate job in Alabama. And I said, no, thank you.
Okay.
So what I did is I really just dove in and I went from, and I'll talk numbers for a second. I went from making like $300 a week to making a full-time income within 3 months. And so it was really just putting my back against a wall. And I can't really say what happened. It was like I had like an outer body experience and finally realized Beachbody is what I want to do with my life.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. I was like, I don't know if that kind of helps. That kind of
No, it did. It did.
So one of the questions on the chat bar was, if you don't have the swipe up option, Mandie, what would you suggest doing, telling a coach that doesn't have the swipe up option?
Yeah. I mean, I would say slide into my DMs. I would say, share this with somebody. I would do anything I could so they could actively engage in that post. And if you don't have the swipe up option, you just have to work harder. And I don't mean to, I mean, if you don't have that option, it's because you need a bigger following, right? And I think that you get that at like 10,000 followers. And so just work harder to grow your audience, work harder to give them a reason to slide into your DMs. And so that's what I'm really doing with the swipe up is I'm really just giving them activities to do so they can show me that they're interested.
Awesome. And then another question in there was, are your info sessions pre-recorded or are you doing them live each time?
Oh, I've used the same video since January. So yeah, they're pre-recorded.
Okay, awesome. And then there was a lot of questions in regards to like more info about your sessions. I mean, what is included in that session? Is it just like, hey, I'm telling you a little bit more about coaching, kind of go into like a 1, 2, 3, this is what I cover in my session.
Yeah. I want to tell you all these magical things I do in information sessions, but I don't. Like, this is how simple they are. I get people in the information session. I go live the first day. I'm like, hey, I'm Mandie. This is what's going to happen in this. And my first video is my story. My second video is what a coach does. My third video is how we make money. Like, that's all I do. And the biggest reason that they work is because I create the same team culture we have on our team pages in these information sessions. And the way I do that is say, I literally tell them, this is your time to shine. This is your time to show me like who you want to be as a coach. And so let's engage, let's have fun. And this is like put your hands up and have a party. Like it's just it's a really fun, light environment, but it's also business oriented as well.
Love it. Okay, and then the last one in the chat box was, how often are you running your info sessions, and are you not inviting to coaching opportunity until you have the session coming up?
I'm always inviting into the coaching opportunity. Literally, Every single day I invite to the coaching opportunity. I run information sessions anywhere from 2 to 3 times a month, depending on my goals. And if I'm like working specifically with my team, I'll run less. If I'm working more on recruiting and growing my team, I'll do, like 2 to 3. Yeah, Kate, I don't sleep.
Zero sleep. How much money or how much do you go into money making, like in that session?
Oh, I give them everything. I literally give them and it's all under corporate. Don't worry. But I think that this is the information session. People get in there because they want to know those details. And so I really give them everything. I give them from my first month paycheck to how much money I'm making now. And I mostly and I don't talk about money so much in the sense of this is how much money I'm making, this is how much money my newer coach is making, this is, I talk more about it in the way that this is the opportunity that you have, this is the way that we can make money, and this is the amount of growth that you can have if you capitalize on it, And so I don't want to ever make people feel confined to my income statements or somebody else's income statements. I really want to be able to create a picture where they have control of how much money they make.
Awesome. I really like this question from Cassie. Do you do anything specific during them with the prospects, or just follow up with them after?
I have conversations with them throughout my whole entire information session. My first day, I say, hey, I just went live. Or hey, my video 1's up. The next day I say, hey, video 2's up. And the next day I say, hey, video 3's up. And that's I just have an ongoing conversation. And in those emails, I do say, do you guys have any specific questions about this? Do you have any specific questions about this? And I really try to make a very comfortable place. And I think that because it's such a weird thing that we do as coaches, and I don't mean weird as in we're just weirdos, but it's so different than our societal expectation of how to get an opportunity, that we have to really set a standard of comfortability. And so once you get those people super, super comfortable in these information sessions with this ongoing conversations, always answering their questions and making them feel as open as possible in there, that is where you win.
Awesome. Now, you mentioned that you get their email address to get into your info session, right? That's why you're able to email blast them, say, hey, video 1's up, right?
Yeah.
Do you do a campaign monitor, or how do you email blast everyone?
I use Streak for everything.
Okay. Awesome. And then the last one here, are you sending 50 to 100 invites a day? How many days a week?
I send 50 to 100 invites the 3 days before my information goes out. And so in my information session, I usually have around 300 people per information session.
Wow. That's a lot of people, Mandie.
Yeah.
Any other live questions? I mean, jump in here, unmute yourself if you guys have any other questions.
What was I going to ask? Oh, so I totally agree with not making it sound like it's easy, but I think I've actually gone to the other extent of that, of showing how hard I work sometimes and forgetting to show why I quit my corporate job in the first place, because I didn't want to be working crazy hours and confined in a cubicle. So how do you show that balance of this takes hard work, but look at the freedom it creates? And then a follow-up question with that, how many hours a day are you putting in now working full-time, and what does that kind of look like for you?
Oh, that's a question. For the first, Kate totally knows my personality, so she's dying laughing. Anyways, so the first question was trying not to giving the visualization that we're free, and we work hard because we want to, type of thing, really my biggest thing is being able to show people that I can walk to the gym during the day, that I can go for a coffee. And I know that sounds so incremental to the abundance of freedom that we have, but when I used to work corporately, I wish I could have walked to get a coffee. And I think about those things. I think about, I wish I could have worked out during the day instead of at 6 p.m. or 5 a.m. And so really showing those things kind of adds value, but also not just showing those things, but really glorifying them. And being I love working out during the day because the sun's out, I'm feeling good, and really getting excited about the small things that you didn't have when you're working in the corporate world, you know? And that's something that I feel like that I have been able to really paint a picture on, because I love it so much, to be honest. Like, I'm excited when I get to go to the beach during the day because I don't have to go to the office. Even though I'm on my phone the entire time, I'm not going to really talk about that. Even though I'm literally on there like, I hope the sand doesn't get in my phone, but I'm still working, you know? But I get to talk about, hey, I get to enjoy the sunshine today, you know? And I actually did just a picture of me going to the beach the other day, and I talked about when I was sitting in my corporate office, I would see how pretty it was outside. And I would be so upset that I had to be in cubicle walls where I can only see the outside when I walked in certain areas of the office. It was obviously terrible. And what was your second question?
Sorry, I was just putting in the chat that like that's exactly my story. And I think sometimes I forget to put the little things. Like, I think we focus on these trips and traveling where it's really, I'm just so excited that I don't have to stare out a window anymore. Like, I can walk outside. So thanks for that. And then my second question was, so I also do this full time, and I came from the corporate world. And what is your full-time schedule now? Just like, how many hours a day do you think you're putting in, / like how much of that is your business, your team? Because I mean, I'm not scared of the answer. Like, I'm willing.
No, it's okay. I was laughing at Kate because she knows the answer to this.
Yeah, I figured.
Just because I love working. Like, even if I wasn't a Beachbody coach, I would have 17 other jobs. When I was working in corporate marketing, I worked freelance as well. I love working, and I always have. And so I'll wake up around 9. I'm telling you, yeah, this was early for me. I'll wake up around 9, and I'll probably work legitimately until 10 p.m. I love doing this, and it's because I love creating things. I love being able to have freedom of like conversations and stuff. And 9 to 10 p.m. is is like an average day. There's days where I do work till 2, 3, 4. Like, there's days where I just don't sleep because, 1, my team has such high goals, and 2, because there's things that I just value about the business that I want to get done. And I'm one of those people, like, if I don't have my to-do list done for the day, I can't sleep. So I was like, might as well get this list done because I'm not gonna be able to go to sleep anyways. But then there are days where I don't work at all, you know? And not saying that comes very often, but there's days where I don't work at all, but I feel okay not working because I put in the long hours, you know? And I really do think that if you work like an entrepreneur, you can live like an entrepreneur. And so that kind of like goes with my hours. The amount of time that I put into growing my team versus working with my team, it's really changed in the last couple of months because now I have 11 diamonds, and I'm just like, what is going on with this team? And my team has grown from 20 people to over 880 people. And so it's shifted. And so at the beginning, I was definitely working a lot on growing the team. And it was probably, I want to say like 70% on my business growing and 30% on my team. Now it's like 60% on my team and 40% on growing my team. And that's kind of like a weird way to even put it, because there's days where I focus ladder, or there's also times where I'm strategically building my team more than working with my team. It just really, really coincides with my current goals.
That was awesome. That was great stuff. Guys, we are out of time. Mandie, thank you so freaking much for being here and answering our questions and kind of putting you on the hot seat and just asking you question after question. But guys, I will post this recording in our Elite and Premier Push group. If you want to share this with your teams, feel free to do so. Mandie, again, thank you so much for being here and just, waking up early to be here with us.
Thanks for having me, guys.
All right, guys, we will see you next Wednesday, same time. And reach out to me for one-on-ones if you guys are needing those for Elite and Premier. So, all right, guys, we'll see you.